Ignis the ancient dragon lived a life of quiet solitude high in the mountains. A life earned through centuries of fire and fury. He was a veteran of countless wars, a living legend, whose name was spoken in hushed tones. He bore the scars of 1,000 battles etched deep into his scales, a testament to his might and his will to survive. His scales, a deep crimson hue, were now faded with age and time. They were no longer the vibrant color of a young warrior, but the muted shade of a survivor. He was content with his retirement. A simple existence of sunning on his peak and watching the world below. His only companions were the wind and the stars. He did not want company. He did not need company. He simply wanted to be left alone. A decision he had made many decades ago. A choice he believed was for the best. A choice he was very happy with. He had a particular spot on his left flank, a small dark blemish, that had been there for as long as he could remember. He thought it was just a spot, a stubborn stain from an old fight. Or perhaps, a peculiar birthmark. It did not bother him, it did not itch, it did not hurt. It was simply there, a part of his aged body. A small imperfection on a grand and powerful canvas. He dismissed it as a minor detail, unworthy of his attention. It was a minor annoyance. If he ever thought of it at all, which he almost never did, he had far more important things to consider, like the perfect angle of the sun on a winter morning, or the precise moment a hawk would take flight from a distant crag. Ignis was a creature of routine and small pleasures, and this spot was not a part of his routine. It was an afterthought, a non-issue, a thing to be ignored and forgotten, a thing that was not worth a single moment of his time or a single ounce of his legendary concern. He believed it was an ordinary spot, just a little mark, nothing more and nothing less, a thing without consequence or meaning, a thing that could not possibly be anything of real importance. Lyra, the human nurse, was a young woman of uncommon courage and dedication. She worked at the Valley Clinic, a place dedicated to the care of both humans and magical creatures. She was not afraid of dragons or griffins or giants. She saw only patients in need of her help. Her compassion was boundless, and her skill was exceptional. She was a rare soul, a healer with a heart of gold and a mind as sharp as a scalpel. Lyra had just been assigned a new patient, a patient who was considered by many to be a very difficult case, a patient who had a reputation for being solitary and ill-tempered. She was told his name was Ignis, the veteran dragon, a name that made even the most experienced healers pause and think. She was not daunted, she was not afraid, she was only determined to help, to make a difference, to bring comfort where there was pain. She packed her medical bag with care, her tools gleaming, her resolve unwavering. She was ready to face the grumpy dragon. She was ready to face the legendary veteran. She was ready to do her job and do it well, a job that was her passion, her calling, her life's work, a job that she had dedicated her entire being to, a job that she believed was the most noble pursuit a human could undertake, a job that she was very good at. Lyra arrived at the foot of Ignis's mountain, her small figure dwarfed by the immense landscape. She made the long and arduous climb, her boots crunching on the loose shale. The air grew thin and cold as she ascended, but her spirit remained warm. She finally reached a large cave entrance, Ignis's home, a place of legend and myth. She took a deep breath and walked inside. The cavern was vast and dark, and smelled of stone and old memories. Ignis lay coiled in the center, a massive form, his crimson scales a dull shade in the low light. He opened one eye, a piercing amber orb that fixed on Lyra with an unsettling intensity. "What do you want, human?" he rumbled. His voice was like rocks grinding together, a sound of immense power and age. Lyra stood her ground. Her voice was steady and clear. "I am Lyra. I am a nurse from the Valley Clinic. I am here to examine you," she said. Ignis let out a snort of hot air, a puff of smoke that billowed around them. "I am not sick. I do not need a human nurse. You can go back to your valley and play with your little potions," he said. His tone was condescending and dismissive. Lyra did not flinch. "It has been noted that you have a spot on your flank. A spot that has been there for a very long time," she said. Ignis' eye narrowed. He was surprised she knew about the spot, a small detail that was so insignificant. "It is just a spot, a mark from an old battle. It is nothing," he said. "I am a professional." Lyra replied, "I must examine it." She had to get closer. She had to see it for herself. She had to do her job, her duty, her purpose. With a heavy sigh of exasperation, Ignis uncoiled himself and allowed Lyra to approach. His sheer size was overwhelming, a mountain of muscle and scale, but Lyra's focus was on her task. She did not see a monster. She saw a patient. She carefully approached his left flank, her small hands and tiny tools, a stark contrast to his immense form. She ran her hand over the spot, her fingers feeling the rough texture. She noticed a subtle irregularity, a faint heat, a slight pulsation. She pulled out her magnifying glass and her small glowing crystal, a tool of human healing that dragons did not understand or use. She looked closely, her eyes trained on the dark blemish, and what she saw made her heart skip a beat. It was not a spot, it was not a spot, it was not a foreign object. A minute shard of something dark and ancient embedded deep beneath his outermost layer of scales, a piece of metal or crystal, or something she could not yet identify, a piece of something that should not be there at all. It was a discovery that defied all conventional dragon medicine. A discovery that was completely unexpected and utterly shocking. Lyra gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Ignis shifted his massive head, his amber eye looking at her with an annoyed expression. "What is it, human?" he asked, his voice still gruff. "It is not a spot." Lyra said, her voice was a little shaky, but her resolve was firm. "It is a shard. It is a piece of something buried inside your scales." She explained. Ignis scoffed. "You are mistaken. I would have felt such a thing. I have a warrior's senses," he said. Lyra shook her head. "It has been there for a very long time. It is very small, and it is encased in some kind of magical residue. It is what we would call, in human medicine, a slow-acting poison. It has been slowly weakening you for decades, and you have not noticed," she said. Ignis was stunned. He was speechless. He had always prided himself on his strength, his health, his resilience. How could he have missed such a thing? How could he have been so wrong about his own body? He felt a profound sense of disbelief and a chilling wave of fear. Lyra's diagnosis was completely outside of his experience, outside of his knowledge, outside of everything he understood about himself and his dragon physiology. Lyra had discovered something that had been hiding in plain sight. Something that was slowly killing a powerful ancient dragon, something that was considered by everyone to be an ordinary spot, a harmless blemish, a simple imperfection on his legendary form. Her human perspective, her human tools, and her human dedication had uncovered a truth that was both terrifying and unbelievable. Lyra took samples of the shard and the surrounding area and rushed back to the clinic. She worked tirelessly for hours under the worried eyes of her colleagues. The discovery was baffling. The shard was of unknown origin, a piece of an ancient and forgotten weapon. A cursed blade, or a magical projectile, a relic of a war that had been fought and won so long ago that no one remembered its existence or its lingering dangers. The shard was slowly radiating dark energy, a powerful and insidious force that was gradually eroding Ignis's life force from the inside out. It was a magical poison, a silent killer that had been slowly eating away at his health for a very long time. It was a miracle he was still alive, a testament to his immense power and constitution, but he was not thriving, he was merely surviving, and if left untreated, he would eventually perish a slow and agonizing death. Everyone at the clinic, from the oldest healer to the youngest apprentice, was shocked. Lyra's discovery was a revelation, a wake-up call to the fact that even the most powerful creatures were vulnerable, and that sometimes the smallest things were the most dangerous. The diagnosis was a bombshell that rocked the entire magical community, a reminder that the past was never truly gone, that its echoes could still hurt even in the quiet peace of the present day. A lesson that was hard for everyone to hear, but one that was necessary. Lyra returned to Ignis with the diagnosis and a plan for the surgery. He was still in a state of disbelief and shock. He sat and listened to her explain the situation with a quiet and serious demeanor. "This shard is a part of a cursed weapon," she said. "It is poisoning you. We must remove it." Ignis was hesitant. He was not a believer in human medicine. "This is a very dangerous procedure. I do not trust you to do this," he said. Lyra looked him in the eye. "I am the only one who has seen what is really happening, and I am the only one who can help you. I am your only hope," she said. Her voice was soft but firm. Ignis saw the sincerity in her eyes. He saw her dedication, her courage, her compassion. He saw that she was not afraid of him, and that she was not seeking fame or fortune. She was simply a healer who wanted to heal a life. He made a decision, a choice, based on pure trust, a leap of faith for the first time in centuries. "Very well, human. You will proceed," he said. The surgery was a monumental undertaking. Lyra had a team of healers and specialists from the clinic, but she was the one in charge. The one with the vision, the one who knew what needed to be done. They brought in a large magical healing platform and Ignis was placed on it. He was a mountain of a patient, his body spanning the entire platform. Lyra used specialized tools designed for creatures of his size, giant tweezers and oversized needles. A magical light shone from her crystal, illuminating the spot on his flank. She worked with a meticulous precision. Her movements were confident and sure. The shard was deeply embedded, and the surrounding tissue was delicate. She had to be very careful to not damage a single scale or a single nerve. It was a very risky surgery, a very dangerous procedure. But she was not nervous, she was not afraid. She was simply focused on her task, focused on saving a life that she had just discovered was in grave danger, a life that had been so close to slipping away from him, and from the world for a very long time. She worked for what felt like an eternity. The tension in the cavern was thick, you could cut it with a knife. Everyone was holding their breath, watching her work. A human, a small, insignificant human, saving a legendary dragon, a sight that was both inspiring and unbelievable. Finally, with a careful and steady hand, Lyra pulled out the shard. It was a small piece of iridescent black metal that pulsed with a faint dark energy. She quickly encased it in a protective magical box, and the light from the shard vanished and was no longer a threat. She then proceeded to close the wound with a healing paste and a magical bandage that would mend the skin and the scales in a matter of days. The surgery was a success, a miracle, a testament to Lyra's skill and courage. Ignis felt an immediate sense of relief. A weight he had not even realized he was carrying was now gone. His breathing was easier. His body felt lighter, his mind was clearer, he was truly healed. For the first time in decades he opened his eyes and looked at Lyra, a small human woman with a big heart, a woman who had saved his life. Finally, with a careful and steady hand, Lyra pulled out the shard. It was a small piece of iridescent black metal that pulsed with a faint dark energy. She quickly encased it in a protective magical box, and the light from the shard vanished and was no longer a threat. She then proceeded to close the wound with a healing paste and a magical bandage that would mend the skin and the scales in a matter of days. The surgery was a success, a miracle, a testament to Lyra's skill and courage. Ignis felt an immediate sense of relief. A weight he had not even realized he was carrying was now gone. His breathing was easier. His body felt lighter. His mind was clearer. He was truly healed for the first time in decades. He opened his eyes and looked at Lyra, a small human woman with a big heart, a woman who had saved his life. He felt a profound sense of gratitude and respect for her. "Thank you, Lyra," he rumbled. His voice was no longer a harsh grinding sound, but a soft and gentle whisper. She smiled at him, a genuine smile of pure joy. "You are most welcome, Ignis," she said. A new friendship was forged. On that day, a bond between a veteran dragon and a human nurse, a bond built on trust, respect, and a shared experience of healing, a bond that would last for the rest of their lives, a bond that was a new legend in the making, a new story, a new chapter, a new beginning, a story of a dragon who learned that even the smallest things can be the most dangerous, and a story of a nurse who learned that even the most powerful creatures need a little help, sometimes a story that taught a lesson to everyone about the importance of kindness and the value of a different perspective, a story that would be told for generations to come, a beautiful story of a veteran, a nurse, and a spot that was not just a spot, but a secret from the past that was slowly stealing a life, a story that was a testament to the power of trust and the kindness of a compassionate human heart, a story that was a new and beautiful beginning for both of them, a story that was the start of a lifelong friendship, a story that was a true miracle in every sense of the word.